are encrypted or not, and they need the details of each encryption, details of each S3 bucket in our account. So, and we have 4 accounts that we had to query, and in each account we probably we probably have maybe about 50, 60 bucket in each account. So that's a lot of bucket. In total, maybe there's probably like 150 buckets we have to go through. That is a tedious job to try to go into each account, try to go figure out what the encryption mechanism is on each S3 bucket and write it down for each account. So my lead wanted me to come up with, he wants the details. He wants the details of each S3 bucket and what type of encryption it has. So, and that was what I did. I think that's a good task for you guys. So basically what you guys have to do is write a script that gets the information on all the S3 buckets in your account and query those S3 buckets, get whatever their encryption value is, and store that information as a file you can give your lead. So that's what I did this week. So I think that's a good example, a good prompt for, a good assignment for what you guys can do this week.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
So write a script that would show. So this problem you're trying to solve is you want to check the details of every S3 bucket in your account and check the encryption information for those S3 buckets, whether those buckets are encrypted with KMS or not, whether they are just encrypted, right? So what you have to do is you have to write a script that queries your S3 buckets and get those encryption information from those S3 buckets and store that information in a file you can give to your lead. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So when you say script, is it something you're going to be using the AWS CLI to get that done, or?
That's part of what you have to figure out.
Oh, okay, cool. And then also with that being said as well, and also like the troubleshooting aspect of things as well, because I've been to a couple of interviews. Most of the time, they want to know that, hey, you are able to create something for us, it's working fine, but what if this went wrong? Or what if that goes wrong? That type of thing. So some of those, as well as you experience them within your day-to-day, might help us as well to get ourselves set for like either of the projects, to know that, hey, these are kind of like some of the troubleshooting issues you're going to be getting when you're doing something related to Kubernetes, something related to Docker, or something related to with your ECS or your EKS, that type of thing. Just so we get our mindsets in that space wherein we're not only creating stuff or building infrastructure, but we know if something was to go wrong, we know where to look and what exactly we can look for.
Yeah. So the if it's like so if when I'm working on a project, if I run into like any type of specific troubleshooting issue, I've been noting some that I ran into, I'll tell you guys about it and make a video about it. But in terms of troubleshooting, because every environment is different, every company is different, the different people, they use different methods. So if I see any type of specific troubleshooting thing that I feel you guys should know, yes, about this particular service, I'll let you know. But some of the, like for example, at work they started making us do some help support ticket for Azure related stuff, and things people are requesting are things that are specific to my company that even I myself, I don't even know how to resolve initially without doing some research on it. And even if we were to resolve those type of things, we can't duplicate those type of environments to be able to resolve those things. But I agree, if it's like a general, like this Kubernetes stuff that I'm working on now, that I'm trying to resolve the issue, yes, that I will share with you guys once I'm done, because I think that's something that would affect everyone. And I also want to get people's opinion on it if they are running into the same issue.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So let me see if I have the script here. I'm not going to show you guys the script, but I'll just show you guys when I run it, what I'll run it in my account, and I'll show you the kind of information that it will give you. Just a second. But in the meantime, while I'm looking for it, you guys can ask. You guys can ask any question you have.
Hey, Aziz.
Hi.
Wish you to get well soon.
Thank
Thank you for attending this while you are getting better.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, but okay, first, I think I see a raised hand from Shuba, so I would like to give it
Sorry.
to her.
Sorry,
Or-
Shuba. I didn't see that you were raising your hand. I didn't have my thing. Go ahead, Shuba.
Hey Aziz,
Hey, good morning.
good morning. I could not get into this Jira access.
Okay. What is it? What is it asking you?
Uh, I have a couple of things to ask you. I couldn't log into it, and it is asking me to log into AOS notes 77 at gmail.com. And it is, if I take my ID, then I'm not able to get the thing what you're,
I
you know.
see. So you have to log out of your Jira or use a different web browser, right?
Okay.
Then, so if you have Jira open on one browser, then if you try to log into the one I created for you guys to test, to play around with, then it will give you that error. So
I
either
logged out. I logged out, and I
okay.
was using the username and password, and it is going to the authentication. I think it went to your email, this email, aosnodes77gmail.com. I think it went for that particular email for, you know, like
Yeah.
I think it went for that. Then I
So right. So did you use the link? The link. So you want to try it now? I know it's so the Jira stuff is just something I created so you guys can just see and play around with. But because it's a free account and people log in here and there, so those issues you guys just bear with that. So you can try to log in now. So if you did you click on that
that ID, the URL, right? What you said?
yes, click on that URL.
Okay.
ID,
It is
yeah.
asking for the verification code.
All right, let me give you that code now. Sometimes it does that but for some other people it doesn't do that. So just kind of weird. Let me go to that email and I'll get the code for you. It is P3.
P capital,
Mm-hmm.
P3,
B4.
B, right?
Yes, like a boy. B as in
Okay.
boy.
B4,
Mm-hmm.
number 4. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And 48.
48. Okay, let me repeat it. It's P344. Okay. I think I got lax.
Okay,
So,
you got it.
oh yes. And I have a question like, so whenever I'm doing a project, I have to go every time, whatever I am doing, I have to put a step and come back and do it in my AWS console, what am I doing?
Yeah. So whenever you are working on an assignment, we are just using that Jira board to mimic how it will be when you start working. Most of the time, you have to create your own ticket as your job. Sometimes your job will have Scrum Master that creates the ticket, and you don't have to worry about that. But most times, you will be responsible for creating your own ticket. So let's say that assignment one you were working on is a task you have to work on at work, is something me as your lead assigned to you as the work you are supposed to complete in this sprint, right? So you'll go to the Jira board, you'll create a task on the Jira board for what you are trying to do. You'll put the details there. For this is the task name. For this task, I am hosting a static website on an S3 bucket. Maybe you'll put some detail down. I will be downloading the script from GitHub, and you just fill in just the information and you create the ticket. So when you start working on that assignment, you move the task in your Jira from, you'll see it under to do. You'll move it from to do to in progress. And once you are done, you move it from in progress to done. So that's
my
typical.
task is to add all the tasks, then the one by one, whenever I doing it.
Yes, that whenever you are doing that task, that's when you will go create the ticket.
Okay,
Just
so
to,
like, who is going to add those tasks? I'm adding myself, or my team lead or someone is doing it for me?
at work, you'll be adding it yourself. Your lead won't be
Right
adding
now?
it for you.
No,
Huh?
no. In the work front, I'm asking how it works. Like,
At work,
yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. At work, you'll be adding it yourself.
adding ourselves. So how do we
Yeah.
get the information from all these things?
Wait, you mean how do you get the information on what to add?
Yeah, what my task is. So someone,
It will be based on whatever your lead is telling you you have to do.
okay,
You understand? So
okay.
if you have a meeting every morning, right?
You're correct. Yeah.
Right, your lead will say, Shuba, for this sprint, I want you to delete some S3 buckets in this prod account, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then based on whatever you guys at work, they don't really give you a lot of information, and they don't walk you through. They don't pretty much give you all the information. Sometimes when they give you information about something they want you to do, they'll just tell you what, like I just tell you, I need you to delete some S3 bucket in this account. That's it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you have to now take that information and fill in the details. I'm deleting the S3 bucket in this account. Whatever information about that account, the outcome you are looking to achieve, you have to fill in all that information. So when you are creating this ticket, you don't have to write a whole lot. Just write a basic summary of what you are doing and what you are trying to achieve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes you would have to create a ticket. Sometimes there might be a ticket that is there already that someone created for a work that needs to be done. Then they will assign the ticket to you. So it depends. It depends. Sometimes the ticket may be already there because sometimes, let's say as you guys are working, different things will come up that you guys can work on right now that you need to work on later. So someone on your team, it could be you, it could be your lead, whoever found out something that needs to be worked on will create a ticket that goes in the backlog. Backlog is things that you guys will work on in the future. So when it is time to work on new tasks, your lead may assign something to you that is already in the backlog. So in that case, the ticket will already be done. The ticket will already be there, and you just they'll just assign it to you. And sometimes you would have to, it will be a new task where you would have to create the ticket yourself.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So for what we are doing with the Jira, we are just trying to mimic creating a Jira ticket and all that stuff.
Got it. I was till now have not used Jira as I'm at the third project. I'm doing this WordPress. I got stuck almost at the end, like, when I created the EC2 instance, and first I created the target group. I created web server in AZ1, and I don't know what happened. The health check went wrong. It got failed. So I don't know. 2-3 times I did. The EC2 is failed. I don't know why. I mean, I didn't get a time to, figure out because yes, it happened yesterday. Then I didn't research it much. So today was your class, so I thought of checking with you, like
Right.
why it went wrong.
Okay. Do you remember what type of error your target group is giving you?
Once again, I'm already there. Unhealthy.
All right. Look next to it. Does it say what type of error it is? Is it like a 403 error? It was it saying where it says the message for the tag? You can share your screen. Let me see.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah. So you see, health status unhealthy. Okay, it doesn't really tell you. So initially, did you we had to create our website, install WordPress the first time, and access it with our database. Have you accessed your WordPress site before, or is this the first time you are trying to
This is the
install it?
first time. I'm actually, what happened is I created a EC2, and then I tried to connect EC2 and did all the work. Okay. Then the next step was load balancer. At that time, when I came and saw the health check, at that time it was showing unhealthy. Then I just went back and deleted EC2 and removed from a target group unregistered the EC2 instance, and again I created EC2 and did that same process, but I didn't try to connect again the EC2,
Okay. So when you created your EC2 and you created your load balancer, you added your EC2 to the target group and all that stuff. Did you
No, I have not created the load balancer, I think. I have not created the
you
load
haven't
balancer.
created the load balancer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But
I just did all those installation, everything I did, the SQL, all those stuff.
did you do the installation already?
No, this is the new one actually. This is I deleted that previously what I did all the work. I deleted that since it was giving unhealthy, so I just deleted and I did yesterday night. But I have to do all the process again because I delete. So I was just curious whether I need to go forward because it's showing unhealthy, right?
Yes. So that's why I'm saying when you create your EC2 instance and you add it to the target group, have you installed all the necessary stuff on your EC2 instance? Have you done that command? Yes.
No.
Yes, so it is gonna show up unhealthy. It's fine. So this unhealthy stuff here does not mean your EC2 instance is unhealthy. It just means that so for your EC2 instance, right? Once you launch your EC2 instance, we are installing our website on that EC2 instance. So how the target group routes traffic to your website is first, it will check whether your EC2 instance is healthy. That is this health status you are seeing here. And how it checks that is it will look for a file, one of your web files. It will be your index.php file, right? On your EC2 instance. If that file is there, then it would say your EC2 instance is healthy. But if that file is not there, it will show up here as unhealthy. You understand what I mean? So you have to install all your website and everything and make sure that your installation process in the other command I gave you guys is done. Then that's when the target group would find the file because now you've installed it, it's there, and it will report as healthy. You understand? So right now, your target group is trying to find your index.php file for your site. on your EC2 instance and you haven't installed anything on it. So that's why
Yeah.
it's showing up on LT.
So that means, like I have a question one more. So should I do installation, everything, then I add it to the target group?
You can, if it's based on whatever preference you want.
Oh yeah, I can go
You
that
can,
way also. I didn't know. Like I was
yes,
just
you
following
can.
your.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do the installation first, then now add the EC2 instance to the target group.
Oh,
Or you can add the EC2 instance to the target group the way you did now. Go back and do your installation. Once your installation is done, the target group is always checking your EC2 instance. So this will update itself after some time. Let's say you go back on this EC2 instance and install your site, right? After this will refresh, and once it's able to find the file, this will come up LT.
the healthy. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So if you don't like the way you are saying on healthy here, then I would suggest launch your EC2 instance, do your installation of your website first, then now add the EC2 instance to the target group.
Okay, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah.
So
And yeah,
so you guys, please, something to note. Yes, the health status you guys are saying here does not mean that your EC2 instance is unhealthy. It's just it's just a way the it is just a way the target group tries to identify if the application that is running on your EC2 instance is healthy, not your EC2 instance itself. So Chuba, can you do me a favor?
yes.
Can you click on this EC2, this
One second.
EC2
Am
instance
I
ID?
sharing? I don't know whether I was trying to share it, but one second.
This
I'm not able to
ID.
see see the screen in your in the Zoom actually.
Oh,
Can
you
you see
can.
my? No,
I can
I
see
can.
your screen. I can see your screen. I'm seeing your target group right now.
Oh, okay.
So click on that EC2 instance, right? So this is how you guys know if your EC2 instance is healthy on this page.
Yes, yes.
You see that status check? If the EC2 instance itself is unhealthy, right, it will show up here. So there's a difference between the EC2 instance itself being healthy, right,
Okay.
and whether the application you install on your EC2 instance is configured correctly. So the unhealthy you guys see in the target group it does not mean, it's not saying that your EC2 instance itself is unhealthy. It's just saying whatever application you are trying to tell me to show your customers that are accessing your site, I can't find the file for that application. That's what that is.
So as you're saying, the application load balancer will check the EC2 instance for like dependencies, whether the application code is in there, it's in the HTML directory and all that stuff. If it doesn't see that, then it will definitely say this EC2 instance is unhealthy.
Correct.
Okay.
So it will check it. It checks for a specific file. You can configure it to look for any type of file, but by default it looks for, since we are working on a PHP application, it looks for the index.php file.
Okay.
In every application, if you guys go and look in all the application code I gave you guys for those PHP application, you will see that there's an index.php file there. So that is by default for PHP application, that is the file
The target
the
group is
target
looking
group
for.
is gonna
Target
look
group
for.
is looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Makes sense.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
the file is not there, it will just tell you it's unhealthy, even though your EC2 instance is healthy.
Okay. And those scripts or code you gave, like how in the interview and all, they're going to ask like how you're going to do this.
No, they're not gonna ask you specific. So in the interview will probably take too long if they're asking you what command you run to do this, what command you run. So they're not going to ask you specifically, but for me, for example, if I have to run those commands right now to install those websites, I don't know how to run any of. I don't know those commands offhand. So that is why we have scripts. That's why we have notes. We write everything down so we can reference our notes. So it will be crazy for anyone to try to test you on how test you on your ability to remember a command. Yeah, certainly like commands like yum update that we run all the time, ls,
Yes,
we
sudo
remember
yum.
stuff like that. We remember
Kind of
those.
thing.
But if it's like a long command on how to install WordPress or whatever the command is, nobody's going to test you on your ability to remember those commands. What you need to be able to demonstrate is understanding the concept of what you were doing, right? Okay, I launched my EC2 instance on my EC2 instance. First, I'm going to mount my EC2 instance to the target group. You don't have to remember the command. Just I mount my EC2 instance to the target group, install WordPress on my EC2 instance. Then during the installation process, I update my PHP, my WordPress config file to add my database credentials. That is how you will explain it, that project, when you are explaining it. You understand? You're not going to tell them I ran sudo yum update. You're not going to, no, you give them the high level concept of what you did.
Okay. How about when we do all these things in AWS CLI?
AWS CLI.
It would be the same, the commands would be different or same AWS CLI when you access the EC2?
I don't understand. Can you repeat? So,
So right now we are accessing EC2 through EC2 connect
true,
point, right?
yeah, true. Okay. Yeah, so I see what you're saying. So if you access your site through, when you log into the management console and you log into your EC2, it brings up the terminal for your EC2 and you run the commands in there. The same way, if you logged in from your computer using the AWS CLI command, when you have successfully authenticate and log in, it is also going to open the same terminal on your computer. So you can run the same command in there. So whether you are running the command on your computer or your EC2 instance, it is going to be the same thing.
Okay.
It is going to be the same. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So the same thing you see when you log in on the console, if you use the CLI to log in, it's the same exact thing you're going to see.
Okay. In a Workfront, people use AWS CLI or through console, we have to connect to the EC2 instance. It's a general question. I don't know, but I had a question.
I work your company will have their own method of logging in.
Oh,
So
they have their own.
everyone has different methods, right? But typically they will have something where you can log in through the console, right? Or you can log in through some type of CLI method, but it wouldn't be SSH. Nobody really, because with SSH, you have to manage a lot of keys, or you have one key that you are giving everyone. So that's not really a secure way. So most likely they will have some type of,
Putty, they use Putty, no?
no, they don't use PuTTY. So
Oh,
PuTTY is like where, that's what I'm saying. With PuTTY, you need SSH keys, right?
correct.
And uh, and everyone can have different private keys that is on an EC2 instance. So it's tedious to manage it that way. So they use some type of either disconnect endpoint or SSM or something like that that allows everyone to be able to connect to the same EC2 instance.
So
Oh,
Aziz, in the case of what we're doing right now, let's say I just finished creating, or let's say Shuba just finished doing the WordPress project, and she created, when she was doing the getting to the auto scaling, she did create an AMI of that EC2 instance that she created that connected to the application load balancer, and she was able to see everything, and then she shuts everything down. The AMI stays in her console account, and for some reason she wants to come back and do the same project, and then she gets to that point wherein she needs to do the auto scaling again. Could she use the AMI that she created a couple of weeks ago, or she might need to do another AMI because everything's going to be different with that instance?
The auto scaling group would not really work with the AMI because the auto scaling group would create your EC2 instance itself, right? And the AMI creates the EC2 instance, right? So the auto scaling group is used to create launch EC2 instance. AMI is an AMI of AMI. You know what? It might work actually.
Yeah, because you know
So
when you're creating the auto
so
scaling,
you can
you have
so
to create the template, and the template uses the AMI instead of an EC2 instance.
yeah, so in your launch configuration, yes. So if you want, yes, you are right. So if you want your auto scaling group to use the AMI you already created, then just give the launch template the AMI ID. Then it will just use that AMI to launch your EC2 instance.
So it doesn't matter whether you created that AMI 4 or 5 months ago, it would still work.
No, you can have as many people have AMI in their account for 10 years, it will still work.
Okay, that was what I
Unless
was trying to clarify.
unless if whatever you configured on that AMI is no longer valid, that's the only time it might give you error. You understand?
Yes.
But if as long as whatever you already pre-configured on that AMI is still valid, it would, let's say if you had T2 on that AMI, right? And T2 is no longer available anymore, then it might run into issues during the creation, or the AWS might say, oh, okay, you need to update this. But yes, it doesn't matter how long you keep the AMI there. Anything next time you go back, it will work.
And as long as it's the same application code, it would definitely work. Okay.
The same. No, yes. So whatever you configure there will already be there. So
okay.
So if
It will
so,
be
let's
charged,
say
is it? If you keep it the AMI, if you keep.
no, they don't charge you. They charge, but you have to have so much AMI in your account to get charged. I have AMI in my account from 3 years ago, and I haven't paid anything for it. So anything that has to do with storage in AWS, like you are storing your S3 buckets or AMI or snapshots, things like that, you guys don't delete them because AWS will not charge you for them because you have to store so much, thousands, and I think it's based on data, how much the file size. So you have to store so much megabyte of data or something like that for you to get charged for it. So AWS won't charge you for those. Okay. Does anyone have any question?
Yes, I have one more. At the beginning, VPC, when you create the VPC, we do this DNS host name, right? What exactly it does actually when you enable it? DNS setting?
Go on your EC2 instance.
Yes, I'm doing it. I did actually. I'm at the VPC.
Yeah, I can see a VPC. Now go on your EC2 instance. I'm going to show you what it does.
Oh, okay. Can you see my screen, this screen?
Yes, I can see a screen.
Okay. I mean, this is my EC2 instance, yes.
So you see in your EC2 instance where your EC2 instance has scroll down. Let me see. Maybe not this one. Go on the other check the other EC2 instance. I'll show you some.
You want a dashboard?
Oh no, it's there. Sorry. No, your running instance right there. Click go to that in any of your instance running. It's there. I just missed it. And select that EC2 instance again.
This one.
Yeah. So you see over there where it says private IP DNS name.
Or this one? IPv4 only?
Yeah. So that's what it gives your EC2 instance. It allows your EC2 instance to be able to have a DNS name, right? So pretty much when you launch your EC2 instance has an IP address, right? But the DNS is also a way of maxing those IP address to give it something that is readable. Just like you know how when you create your EC2 instance and we're accessing our EC2 instance from the load balancer, right? But you're not going to give people your load balancer's DNS name because it is a bunch of information that no one is going to remember. So instead, you create a domain name that maps to the DNS name, right? The concept is the same here. So when you enable the DNS host name, right, it just means that you want your EC2 instance to have this DNS name. This DNS name, they have things they are useful for. So in this WordPress project, for example, if you don't enable this DNS name, you won't be able to mount your EC2 to your EFS. You need this DNS name to be enabled. You have to have this DNS name to be able to mount your EC2 to the
Oh,
EFS.
that is the external device you're attaching to the.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
So
the
this is internal
EFS,
to the VPC, is it? This DNS like. Yeah. So internal, I'm trying to say is like.
so for
Only
every,
for the VPC, this DNS works. This number, this ID.
yeah, so it means that in that VPC, for every resource you launch in it, that resource will be assigned a DNS name.
And as this, would it also be looking at it from this angle as well, as like instead of just having an IPv4 address, you're memorizing or thinking about numbers, you have a name that you can always go back to and say this resource has a name, correct?
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Yeah. So Shuba,
Yes.
so what that means is, you remember the concept is similar to when we created our subnet, right? You remember when we created private subnet and public subnet?
Yes.
For the public subnet, we enable assign IPv4.
Yes. Auto. Yeah. Yeah.
So that means for any EC2 instance we launch in that subnet, it will be assigned an IPv4, right? It's the
Yes.
same thing here. When you enable the DNS hostname in your VPC, for every resource here, the EC2 you launch in that VPC, that resource will be assigned a DNS name. And just like how Daniel said, it is just a way, it is a readable name you are using to identify that resource. But they have their use. In this case, I gave you an example. Without this name, you won't be able to mount the EC2 to the EFS.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So there are sometimes you need to do specific things. Those things will require your resource to have a DNS name. For example, when your EFS mounts to your EC2, it mounts using the DNS, not the IP address.
Oh, it needs only the DNS. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And one more question, like beginner like me, with no experience in cloud computing, like clouding, I'm not. So how where I can start, like job? Do the companies ask for experience?
So it just depends on what type of job you're asking for, you are applying to. Some ask for, yeah, if the job is asking for 8 years of experience and they are saying that's what they need, then I wouldn't apply to this job. But there are jobs that ask for 2 years experience, 3, 4, right? Excuse me. Yeah, so there are jobs that ask for 2 years of experience, 3 years of experience. You can apply to those. So when I started AWS just like you guys too, I didn't have any AWS experience at all. And I didn't have any tech experience, and my background was CAD design. So how I got my first job is I did this project. Then I made sure I understand and I can speak on what I did in the project. And on my resume, I just put like 2 to 3 years of experience, right? And
That's your CAD experience you're saying?
no, my AWS experience, right?
The projects here, whatever you're
Yeah,
done, that's
the
what you're saying.
projects so they can count from anywhere from 2 years experience to 4 years experience,
I
right?
can't
So
go from zero.
no, don't put 0. No one's gonna call you back.
Oh.
So, and
But these are the projects we are doing ourselves, right? There is no
so I'm just gonna say it here. I'm gonna say, when it comes to getting a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys have to, you guys use your own, you guys are very intelligent. You can figure out what I'm saying, but I'm not going to say a whole lot. When it comes to getting a job, you have to bend the truth a little bit, right?
Sorry, can you repeat? I did not.
So when it comes to getting a job, you have to bend the truth a little bit.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is,
Sell
what I
yourself.
care, excuse me.
I interject. I said a way of selling yourself, like
Exactly. So
yeah.
Adewale said it best, right? So let's say the way Adewale said it, you have to sell yourself in a way that makes you look attractive. Let's put it that way. So let me tell you how I got a job. When I started working on all this project, I created, and then I had another company. I had another business that I was doing then with my card related stuff. And I was also teaching people how to do card design. And I needed a website for that business. So what did I do? When I learned all these things, I created the website for that business. Then I now use that as an experience on my resume. So I listed it as if it was work that I was doing for someone. Right? So I just said I listed all my experience within the projects that I did, and I list the company's name, right? And my cousin that also knew about the business and all that stuff, it just gave me the reference. So that's why I'm saying like how you sell yourself. So you are not lying in terms that don't put anything on your resume that you can't do. So if you in this project you work on Kubernetes, you work on Docker, you work on ECS, Terraform, CloudFormation. By the end of this project, you have knowledge on those things. If you can do those things, it doesn't matter if you've been doing it for 8 years or you've been doing it for 1 year. If you know how to use Terraform to create an infrastructure from beginning to end, it doesn't matter how many years of experience, how many years you've been doing it. If you can do it, you can do it. So in that way, you are not lying about this, your skill sets. But how you present your skill sets doesn't matter. So don't go. In the beginning, before I listed the website that I built as an experience on my resume, I actually did the same exact thing you did. You said, Shuba, I listed 0 years of experience. I'm someone that's looking to transition into the cloud. You're not either going to get a call back. And when I did get a call back from a recruiter, she belittled me. She's like, no, I can't forward your resume to the hiring manager because you don't know you don't have any years of experience. I don't think you can do the work, even though I can do the work. So when I was talking to my coworker, it was like, oh, you have this other website for this business you are working on. Why don't you just create that website, manage that website on AWS yourself, and list that as an experience? And that's what I did.
So I can add all these projects in my, these are the projects I did. I can exhibit in my resume.
So, yeah, so basically what I'm saying is, by the time you finish all this project, you have a lot of experience on different things, right?
Correct.
I'm not going to say don't, it just depends, right? But at the part where you guys sell yourself, I really don't want to give anyone any specifics of how to do that because you figure out what works for you. But I'm saying you will be better off when you get all this experience listing it as if you did the job for a company as opposed to these were just hands-on projects you did. You understand?
Okay.
Right. So if you need me to give you a reference when that time comes, we can discuss privately. I can show you exactly how to do it because
Sure.
I really don't want to say too much. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is you just have to once you have the skills, think about ways you can use that skills to sell yourself in a good way. And from my experience, listing projects on your resume and saying, these are the projects I worked on, I don't have any experience. It's not a good way to sell yourself.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Aziz.
No problem. Someone has their hands raised. Sean, go ahead. Do you still have more questions or should I?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no
Thank you.
problem.
Appreciate.
No problem. Sean,
Thanks
go
for
ahead.
answering my question.
Hey,
Thank
good
you.
morning, Afeez. This will be a quick question. So I'm working on a project and I'm doing some stuff with CDK. What's your thoughts on it? Because I was running into some issues with it. And it's a CDK used with Python on Amazon. And I think I could have went with Terraform, but is it something that is it vital to use, or have you used it? Is it used in the industry, that kind of thing? Because I'm starting to see more work with it out there in LinkedIn. So just curious, what's your thoughts on it?
I mean, it's good that you're working on it and you're getting experience on it. I haven't used CDK before at work, never. So
Okay.
we use Python. I mean, either straight Python with Lambda or Terraform, right? But it's good that you're getting experience on it. It's probably something I should try to work on to at some point, just complete a project with CDK, right? But I had a friend that worked at a company that was all they used, CDK, and he told me it was a nightmare to manage. So I don't really know much details about CDK and how they are used and using them to provision an environment and how that works better than Terraform.
Yeah,
But I haven't seen it since I've been working. I haven't come across any project that's using it for infrastructure provisioning.
okay. And let me just add one more question, right? So this project I'm doing it's like a web scraper, and I'm trying to looking for it's something personal I want to do. I'm looking for a particular computer part, and I'm making a web scraper on it, and I'm deploying it on Docker, and then it be ran on AWS stuff, like whenever that product comes up.
Okay.
Is that something that is worthy of adding to the project list?
Oh, for sure. Anything you work on that solves some type of problem is worthy of adding to the project. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
cool.
For
Thanks.
sure, because what you are doing is you actually solving real world problem, right? Which is even in our projects, that's what we are trying to do. We're solving real world problem, even though we are starting at the website level, because most companies, when they use AWS, they are using it to either serve their web, make sure their application is available to their end users and stuff like that. So what you're actually doing gives you a lot of experience. Yeah, it's definitely something you should showcase.
Okay, and one more question about this certificate. I'm thinking about taking the CKA, the Certified Kubernetes Administrator, um, just to add. Um, do you think that will give me an edge in the market, or
Sure, I think so.
you think so? Okay.
Yeah. So I think if you have a mixture, but just don't go, I don't know. I don't want to tell you guys what to do when it comes to your certification.
I'm leaning to your advice on this one.
Okay.
Okay.
So my opinion on it is get certificates that are important. So for example, in your case, let's say if I was to do it all over, I would get certificates that are focused on specific things. So that way I just don't look like someone that's just holding all the AWS certification, all the certification that there is, right? So what I would do is maybe I'll get the solutions architect associate, then I'll get the Kubernetes one, and I'll get a Terraform one, and that would be it, right? So I was saying last week that the director at my company, he told us specifically that if he's reviewing someone's resume and you have more than 2 certifications on your resume, he's going to throw your resume in the trash. That's it. And I'm repeating exactly what he says. Well, that's exactly what he said. And his reason is that if your certification does not prove to him that you can do the work, you are only just telling him that you are someone that can study for an exam and pass an exam, but that doesn't show him, that does not show him that you know how to think in a way of solving problem. So on your resume, you guys should be putting things in there. Again, it's not about selling yourself, that highlight your skill sets and your ability to deploy infrastructure and solve problems. Certification does not really help with that. So you guys be very careful about loading your resume with anything. I know on my resume I have 4, but even now if I have to do it, that 4, my 4 is all AWS. If I had to do it again, I would probably do 2 AWS certification, because Kubernetes is very important to most companies. I would do the Kubernetes one, and I would probably do a Terraform one. That's it.
So expanding on that just for a second, so how would you underpin that? Like, how would you project that? Like after you get the cert, like or while you're doing the certifications, what projects would you apply, or what things would you add to the resume to market it, to sell it? How would you strategize that in today's time?
Yes. Yeah, so we have, so let's say I get the Terraform, right? I said AWS Solutions Architect. We have a reference architecture, right? I see. So I said AWS Solutions Architect. We have a reference architecture that for an application you deployed that, let me just show you. Right. So for the AWS Solutions Architect, we deployed this application using this reference architecture. So you can tie that certification into this project, right? So, there'll be, I don't know specific ways to say, but you understand, you get the idea of what I'm saying, right? So you got the certification and you're able to prove that the knowledge gained from the certification, you've used it in a real world scenario to deploy an application, and you use some of these services in your reference architecture. That is that, right? Then for the Terraform one, you've also deployed in a real world setting, you've also deployed this AWS infrastructure with all these services in it using Terraform. So you've also tied that Terraform certification to your experience. Then for the Kubernetes one, you can also even use this same reference architecture of deploying this application using Kubernetes cluster. So basically what your certification is, you have to tie it into the experience, right? I think that's going to sell you in a better way than just go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to ask, so tell me if I'm on the right path here. So let's say said company was facing this problem. They needed to, modernize their infrastructure. So we built a Terraform strip and ran this and deployed their infrastructure environment. And then they could reduplicate that in future environments. And we solved their problems. So
correct.
And move to like that, and maybe put that in like a blog type way, and then you could show. Okay, cool.
Correct. So whatever you guys are putting on your resume is just selling yourself. So that's a perfect example, right, of you using your experience to solve real world problem for a customer, right? Someone reading that understand exactly what you did. Especially if it's like a tech person that is interviewing you, they understand exactly what you did. So I really think the old way, and I'm guilty of this too, the old way of created VPC, created EC2, which my resume is still like that, it's kind of like dying off. So we have to just find creative way. Like I can't give you guys specific things of what to write, but think about you guys have already deployed this application from completing the project. Now think about how you can include your experience in working on this application on your resume in a way that's sells you the best, and that is what you should do. So Sean, what you just described, that is a perfect example of how you can do that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, Aziz. I
Hi.
don't know. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Hi, I'm Mr. Dixon. Oh yeah.
I'm good.
You know, I logged off last week after I told you that I was gonna walk you through the thing, and I remembered after I already logged off that, oh man, I was supposed to show you how to go about it.
I'll it up later.
Oh,
So
you did.
thanks so
I'm
much.
so sorry. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
So basically, pretty much when you get access to your account, all the projects are listed in your
Yeah,
account. So
I just saw that.
just start at the top and walk through those projects. That's pretty much what you need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I started the first project. I'm still on it. Even today, I had to join a bit late. So I saw this place. Instead of using SSH key to connect, you use the endpoints
Yes, sir.
to connect. I would say, is the endpoint, is it that in real life environments? It seems someone asked that same question. Is it the endpoint we have to use or we have to use like an SSH to connect to our EC2 either through Git Bash or through
Yeah. Yes.
our Windows stuff?
Yes.
That's the first. And the endpoint here, it's, to me, does it act like a bastion post to prevent unauthorized connection from the outside world to our like our private server, like the database and the rest?
Yeah.
So that's the
Okay.
question, because it's like almost the first time
Okay.
I'm seeing. I used to see it there, but I know most times we just connect through using SSH and the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. Cobley, I'm going to respond to your question in a bit. Just give me a second. Let me answer this question. All right. So, the first question is how it is at work, whether people use SSH keys or endpoint. So at work, think about the point of SSH keys is like, let's say we have our EC2 instance, right?
Okay.
The EC2 instance has to have a private key.
Yeah.
No, the EC2 instance has to have a public key, right? So let's say this is your work, and you have all these engineers, and you included, me included, right? And this is also another engineer, right? So the EC2 instance has the public key. In order for us to be able to connect to that EC2 instance, we have whoever is trying to connect has to have the private key. So that means this engineer has to have the private key. This engineer has to have the private key. It is recorded, Junior. This live is recorded. It's on YouTube. You'll see it under the playlist. This engineer has to have the private key, and this engineer has to have the private key. So now you have one private key that you are sharing among different engineers. It is really not secure because it's just not a secure method of connecting to your EC2 instance. And I can tell you guys that in all my years of working, I haven't found anyone that's used SSH method to connect to EC2 instance. I'm not saying there isn't out there, but I haven't found, especially when you are working for like for a company that's kind of like an enterprise that is just not one small AWS account, right? They don't use SSH key because managing the keys itself, it just becomes a nightmare. So either way, they use some type of built-in. Every company has their own way of connecting to resources in their private subnet. They would have set that up. The steps to connect will be there for you. All you have to do is just connect. Once you connect one time, it's a thing of the past. You don't have to worry about it. It's because it's the same process every day, right? So either they will set up using SSM or they will set up using this endpoint, right? So I'm not saying, even at my company, we don't use endpoint. We use we use SSM, but every company has whatever they've set up for you to connect. So that's the the issue with the private key. So when it comes to the project standpoint, the only thing I want you to understand about SSH keys is you can work on a small project where you'd set up your connection method to be the SSH, so that way you just understand it. So when it comes from a project standpoint, you guys just understand the concept of SSH. It doesn't mean that when you start working, that's the method you're going to be using. You're not going to use SSH. I can almost be assured that your company will use SSH, but understand the concept. Understand that when you are connecting to an EC2 instance using SSH, your key pair comes in two: public and private, right? These are the things you just need to understand. If you understand that concept, you are fine. For your project, you don't have to use SSH. Because for me, I don't even use SSH. I haven't used SSH since this endpoint came out. So understand the concept that your key pair comes in two: public and private. And how you use those keys is you put the public one on the EC2 instance, and whoever is trying to connect to the EC2 instance has to have the private one. That's how you connect. So as long as you understand that concept, you are fine. To answer your other question about the bastion, the endpoint, if we need a bastion host, the point of the endpoint is that we don't need a bastion host. And if you look at this reference architecture, you can see this endpoint the endpoint is in our AWS environment, right?
Yeah.
And as you know, if we have an engineer, let's say we have a new engineer that just joined the team. This engineer does not have access to our AWS environment. So anybody on the outside cannot use this endpoint to connect to our resource. Automatically, this endpoint that we created in our AWS account can connect to any resource in our VPC, right? But people outside of our AWS network do not have access to this endpoint, so they can't connect to any resource in our VPC using the endpoint. So in order for the new engineer to be able to use this endpoint, we have to give this engineer access, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once we give this engineer access to this endpoint, then the engineer can use it to connect to the resource. So you understand? So this endpoint, you don't need bastion host, because this endpoint can directly connect to any private resource, or resource in the private subnet, resource in the public subnet in your VPC. And how you limit the access is through the IAM credentials of your engineers. If you don't give them access to the endpoint, then they can't use it to connect to any resource in your VPC. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, so for your project, just understand the concept for the SSH. But to make life easier, I always use the endpoint, but it's up to you. Especially when we get into that migrating our data. In cloud, it doesn't mean sometimes you want the fastest, you want the most efficient way to get your job done that is also secure. Using that bastion host was just a nightmare. It does the job, but it's just a longer process of creating your bastion host in the public subnet, first SSH into it, then from there you SSH into the private. So
yeah, I agree.
All that stuff we take with the endpoint, we take out all that stuff and we can just connect directly. Like in our project, you see that you can connect directly into your server in the private subnet and start installing your website on it. We don't have to set up all those security groups that we set up before. For example, this same project, when we were working on it before, we used to install the project. We'll first launch an EC2 instance in the public subnet, so that way we can easily SSH into it, install our website on that EC2 instance. Then once we are done installing our website on the EC2 instance, we will use that EC2 instance to create an AMI.
To do is create a workspace to hold our code. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File. We're going to go.
We will now use that AMI. Then we will now use that AMI to launch our actual server in the private server. That's just a lot of work. So with this endpoint, we can connect directly into the server in the private subnet and install our website. So I
Okay,
think the
thank you so much.
endpoint, using the endpoint makes life a whole lot
Yeah, it
easier.
does. It does. So
And what,
my final question, this
yes, go ahead.
endpoint service, is it a recent service?
Yes, AWS just released it maybe
Okay.
sometime last year. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I understand because I started studying for AWS like some few years back and stopped sometime. I'm just trying to go back. So I guess that was where I missed it because most of the lecture and this I got was you have to use the
SSL.
the keys. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I was saying, why didn't you use it all this while?
Yeah. So I think, yeah, you're right. AWS just released this service earlier last year. So it's a new service. And one thing I would also mention is you should keep in mind is, let's say you've installed your AWS CLI way back when you started working on AWS, right?
Yeah.
To use this endpoint, you have to update your CLI because on this endpoint is only available on the new version of the AWS CLI. So if you notice, if you run this endpoint command, CLI command on the older version of the AWS CLI, it wouldn't work.
It didn't work. You're right.
Yeah. So that's why, because it's a new service. So in AWS, it's a new feature. And in AWS CLI command, CLI, they add the updates in the new update. So yeah, so it's a new feature.
I had to use is it Instance and Connect or what was this one? The Cloud9 or Instance Connect, that was what I had to use yesterday just to test it to see. Because I'm still working on the first project. I found out that it wasn't working. So I did some configuration and yeah, I think it makes sense now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. So Dylan, did you have a question or you
No, I had a question. Can I share my screen? I was still trying to look at the Kubernetes project that I was doing, and let me share my screen.
Sure.
And it was looking at interface, a dummy interface, and that's where I was at. And I was wondering because I put all of this into Claude, and it said Claude was saying this is false, but it's fine. The only problem that I was having was the network interface dummy is not up. Have you ever came into that kind of
have you run your deployment file?
on my deployment file?
Yeah, like the deployment where we run the commands to deploy our stuff in the cluster. Have you run it?
I have, and it failed.
Okay, can you go back on the nodes? I want to see something. Yeah, so that can just yes, this error, right? What you are saying there, whatever that message is could just be because your pod is not up and running. So go to your cluster, then click on compute. So it's saying your node is not healthy, so that could be part of the issue. So it says you have node health issue, right? So
Yeah.
you have one right there. So click on that node, yeah, that one. All right, and scroll down. So scroll down. Scroll up. I think you passed it. Where you I keep scrolling up. Yeah, right. Stop right here. So click on that. Your range zone, deployment. Says status running. Scroll down. And click on that container. It shows that your stuff is running. So what so the issue may just be pertaining to other and some other stuff. So at least in your pod, you can see your application, the status is running.
Right.
So scroll back up. So okay, go back to that cluster, where we had that cluster. So the main issue is node health issue. Is your main node. Click on compute and scroll down. So it wouldn't be this node is status. All of it, all of this is running. Scroll down. Let's scroll up. I don't see any issue here. I'll scroll up. Scroll up. So go back to, I don't see any issue. So go back to that node thing. Let me see that node stuff again. So go to your network, go to your EC2. Let me see something in there.
Yeah, I can't log into my my EC2. It always times out.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so you, all right, so your EC2 is running. What about your your target group?
I don't think it's, yeah.
Yeah, it always creates it one and the load balancer. Like the, what about the load balancer? So click on that target group again and select the target. Let's say if it's healthy. It looks like your deployment worked. So that node thing, I need to figure out what. Scroll down.
Yeah, it's
But it has to be
unhealthy.
on target's details. Scroll down. It's showing healthy. So what did you try to access your application and you can't access it?
Right.
So
Because I'm really trying to figure out why in a EKS cluster do I have a bad health check if all of this is unhealthy. My target group, my target group is unhealthy, but my EKS, my cluster is unhealthy, but this is unhealthy.
your stuff are all healthy.
Right. I'm trying to figure out why is it showing unhealthy on my EKS cluster? Why is this right here? And the only thing I done came up with was the interface dummy 0.
Can you go in your cluster again? It's right there. Node health issue. Scroll down. Don't click on that node. Click on. No, you're fine. Click on the other node. Scroll down. Click on compute. And scroll down. And click on this the other node. Have a good weekend, Sean. Not that one. There's the one below it. Have a good weekend, Sean. Yeah. Scroll down. Everything looks fine to me. Let me go back there. Let me take a screenshot of that, and I don't know. First, you should just try to access. You should just try to access your site first and see if you're having any issue with that.
Okay, all right.
Then let me. I'll look up this real quick for you.
Oh,
Just a second.
oh. Yeah.
Okay. Scroll up. Okay, here. And scroll down.
Oh, I can barely hear you.
Oh, sorry. I moved my mic away. Scroll down. Scroll down. No, stay on this page. Scroll down. Right the interface. Leave it here. Let me just leave it. I think it's saying that it has to do with the AMI you are using. So, just a second. I don't think it has to do with your deployment at all.
My AMI is configured all right. I configure that.
Yeah.
We can look at it if you want to.
No, it's fine. Okay, now I can see the specific health issue. The problem is with networking. Ready status specifically, the interface 0 is not up on the node IP.
Well, see, I'm using a hotspot. I'm not using a home internet. That's what I'm thinking it is.
I
And
think it has. Yeah, so it's saying this has to do with, so your deployment actually looks fine. That's why I'm saying I don't see anything wrong with your deployment. But it says like it's some type of networking issue. So it could be networking issue in your VPC. It could be the hotspot you are using. It could be something related to that. So and you also mentioned that you are unable to SSH into it.
I said that that was you got a good memory, man. That was about a month ago. But
So
yeah.
are you able to SSH? Are you able to connect to this EC2 instance, the node?
Well, this particular node, no, I'm not. But I launched another one in a private subnet, and I was be able to connect to it.
Okay.
I think, yeah, like, let me show you. If I didn't.
So it's pretty much the issue you're having is some type of networking issue. So it says,
see, I use data migrate to get into the private subnet, but this particular node, even though it's running and it's passed all its health checks, it won't let me connect to it.
Right. What? Click on that. Yeah, try to connect. Let's see. Click on it.
It's not going to connect. Yeah.
All right. So go back. Just click back. Okay. So that is it to instance. Select the security tab. No, you've selected it's down. It's down over there. So you see those tabs here. There you go. Scroll down. Let's see. Select the security group there. And edit your inbound rule. Yeah, stay there, click edit inbound rule there. And add a rule. You know why you can't connect to it? Because it is not allowing your endpoint, that's why. So add a rule, SSH.
Okay.
SSH. And select your endpoint. No, so in the second box. In the second box. The next one. Yeah. Look for your SSH security. I mean your EIC security group. All right. Now yeah, that's it. Scroll down and save. All right, now try it again. There you go. So I can see that you are using Amazon Linux too. That could also be the issue.
Well, I gotta be Amazon Linux
Are we-
23.
Did I use Linux too in the video?
I believe, yeah, I think you did. Amazon Linux, yeah, too.
Well, never even mind. Never mind, because it's not even like you didn't create this EC2. AWS created it for you, so they are using EC2 Linux too, right? So it says run. So type this command first. It says run. Type IP. First sudo su. Let's see sudo su. No. Or you can either do sudo. You don't need the su if you're going to run the command next to it. You just need sudo. But if you can either run sudo the command or sudo su first to change to root, then you can now run your command. So okay. IP link space link show space dummy 0. And run that. Okay, just a second. Let me. It's that you're using Amazon, which I shrink to end of line June 25. The dummy 0 interface is indeed down as reported in the node issue. Yeah, 3. There are 3 security updates pending installation. Try to bring it back up. So I think it's just relating to the fact that your node is using Linux 2, right? And I can't remember when we created the node. I'm sure there should be an option to select Linux 2023. You probably select Linux 2. That's probably why.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. So that's the issue. So it
So
has
you
nothing
want me
do-
to, so to get a good health check, you want me to do the note all over again and use
Yeah, you have to do the
Amazon?
node all over again, then run your deployment again, because you actually got your deployment right this time. So it says you can bring it up, says run that same command again, sudo IP link. Try typing sudo IP link. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at my own. IP link set dummy 0 up. Yeah, guys, I'm using Claude to troubleshoot this, by the way. I'm telling you, man.
IP
Up.
link
Set dummy
okay.
0 up and press enter. All right. Now run that first command you ran again. So just press up key on your thing. There you go. Yeah, that didn't work. So
Yeah.
so this is just, you don't need to troubleshoot things in this way. Just use the 2023 Linux. It
Right.
will work.
Got you.
It will work.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
All
it's
right.
I think that this is the
I think
issue.
so too.
Because you can
I
see
think
this one, this Linux 2, AWS, the end of support life will be June this year. So so yeah. I think
do I
that's
have
the
to
issue.
when I set it up, do I have to change the security group back to what it was or leave it like it is?
No, leave it as it is. It's fine.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I appreciate it.
No problem.
I'll do it later. You'll have if I get it running, I put it in the chat. So,
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. But while we here, I don't know if anybody else got any more questions, but I'm curious to know how you did in the stock market.
Yeah, I didn't really trade much this week. Well, I did trade, but I did make some money, but I didn't trade a whole lot. I haven't been trading a whole lot this year because the type of contract I'm looking for are not the type of, I haven't found them because I'm not trying to risk a lot of money to make money. So, but I
Right.
can explain that at the end. Just a second. Let me answer some
go
of
ahead.
this AWS question. Then I
Yeah.
can tell you guys at the end if for those that are interested. Okay, Kobley, I'm not sure if you're still here. So, someone's asking how want to join but don't know which one to choose from. So let me just go to my website and I'll show you. So on my website, if you come to courses, right? So here I have this this bootcamp and mentorship thing. That is what I'm doing right now, where I meet with everyone, answer their questions. They have a list of projects and assignment they have to walk through and all that stuff. So we also discuss any other thing we want to discuss. Sometimes I talk about sometimes I talk about my personal life stuff here too. That is not AWS related. Pretty much if I'm doing anything that's working for me that I want to enlighten you guys on that I think you should know, I would discuss it here. One of the other things I've been discussing is every now and then is like trading and investing. So that is this one. So this is for if you are an absolute beginner, you don't know where to start. You don't know where to start and you need help. You need kind of like you need a structure of someone that's just going to tell you, start over here, work on this, work on that. Once you are done with this, work on this next. That is what this program is meant for. So that is this one. So here you'll get to we have the meetings every Saturday. You can message me throughout the week if you have any issue. You can schedule meetings with me, things like that. So that's this one. Then if you go down here, I have the monthly access one. So there's monthly and lifetime access. So you see over here, this first one, this is the monthly one. So pretty much all the projects that I've done, if for some people, they already have experience and they just looking to complete 1 or 2 projects, right? You can either get the monthly one, which gives you access to all the projects. And all the projects you are seeing here are the same projects that I'm mentoring people through, right? So if you feel like you don't need to really speak to me, you know what you are doing, then you can, for some people, get this monthly one, which gives them access to all the contents on the site, and they just complete the project at their own pace. Maybe they are just trying to complete a Terraform project, for example. Or sometimes people say, you know what, this monthly one, as you guys know how monthly subscription works is, once you stop paying, once you cancel your subscription, then you no longer have access. But as long as your subscription is active, you continue to have access. But sometimes some people want to get access for a lifetime, and they don't want to pay, having to pay a recurring monthly fee. So that's when you can get any of the projects. So the monthly subscription give you access to all these projects, or you can buy those individual projects, a one-time payment, and you will get lifetime access. But then you have to, if you want to get all, I think I have like 10 or 11 projects here, you have to buy each individual one to get access to it. But a monthly one gives you access to all of them. So that's kind of like how my my stuff works. This is the mentorship here, monthly subscription, each individual one. So I only even released this because some people were asking me that they just need to complete Terraform, they just need to complete Docker. They already know what they are doing. That's why this is for here. So if you are an absolute beginner, I wouldn't recommend buying one course here. For example, don't come and buy a project without you getting, because there's some type of foundational basic work you have to do before you start working on hands-on projects. And I walk each and every one in my mentorship program through that. You can't just, let's say you're a beginner starting right now, you can't just jump straight into a hands-on project. It doesn't work like that. You only find it difficult. So that's how that is. So mentorship, if you are absolute beginner and you need guidance on where to start, and if you already know what you are doing, then projects here is what you should buy. So which brings me to even the point of, I see sometimes people, I don't know whether not paying attention or just when it comes to doing AWS, you have to have a lot of patience and you have to be willing to do the work, and you can't take shortcuts. Don't take shortcuts. And this thing, what we are saying is 6 months to a year, you already be up. All these projects don't take that long to do, but in the beginning, once you start, it might you might have some rough patches here, but once you get up and running, a lot of this stuff, you know it. So you can really go from zero knowledge to efficient knowledge in about 5 months to a year, depending on how much work you put on it. So oftentimes, so what actually happened to me last week is someone that's an absolute beginner bought this course and bought course here. And another thing I should mention is when you buy this individual course, like I said, this is geared for people that already knows what they are doing. So I really don't provide I don't provide support. The most I'll do is if you message me about something you have an issue with, I would respond back to you. And keep in mind, I do get a lot of emails, so I will respond back to you telling you, look here, look there. And sometimes I would even, if I have time, I would try to join a Zoom call with you, but I really don't provide support here. I only provide support with people that are in this program. So last week, someone bought a course here, I bought this WordPress course, not last week, but some time back. And they emailed me, the particular person emailed me and said that I'm trying to deploy something here, I'm having an issue. So I responded back, I said, and typically when I respond, Another thing I want you guys to keep in mind is when you start working, you are going to be almost working independently, but you have people around you can rely on. You don't want to be that person at work where you go to someone. When you go to your colleague and ask them questions, you have to ask the right specific question. You can't go there and ask your colleague, teach me how to SSH into an EC2 instance. But you can say, oh, you know what? I'm running this command. I found this issue. Is this issue something you've run into before? So when this person, sometimes when you email me, especially if you're in this part, I will just respond to you and I will try to give you guidance on where to look. So that way you can troubleshoot the issue yourself, because everything I did in the projects worked. So most of the time when someone is having an issue, it is because they misconfigured something. So if I look at your error, I'll point you, I'll say, okay, check your VPC, check your security groups, check this and that. Which when the person emailed me, I did respond that way, but they still weren't able to resolve it. So we had a couple of email back and forth where anytime I come back to my email is when I respond. So we had a couple of back and forth. And troubleshooting, one thing I want to mention is troubleshooting is part of your job. So when you guys start running into issue when you are working on a project, you should take that as a learning opportunity to learn, because that is where you will learn the most. So by the time I got back to when I responded to this person, they couldn't troubleshoot. So I now send them a link. I said, use this link. I meet with my students every Saturday. Use this link, join the meeting, and I'll help you troubleshoot. Even though that is something for people that buy the individual course, I don't give them access to this Zoom call, but I took an exception. I gave that person access. And the person couldn't join the Zoom for whatever reason. And they sent me an email. I couldn't join. But by the time I got the email, time has already passed. So I responded. I said, in order to join the Zoom call, all you have to do is make sure you are logged in Zoom and click on the link that I provided to you. And the person responded back, started with a whole bunch of insults, right? Pretty much called me all the names, said I'm arrogant. I'm a typical African man. I called me the MF word, called me a pig. But that I really don't care, right? But what I'm trying to say is when you guys sign up for my program, right? I'm honestly, this is a field where I've really changed my life. You know, I went from having zero money, living check to check, to actually in this field made millions, right? So what I'm trying to do is impress that on you guys, that you guys can do the same. There's really nothing hard about doing cloud work. As long as you're willing to do the work, you do the work. You'll get there, right? So, and I'm not here to cheat anyone. I actually feel like I give more than I get paid for here. Because I've actually been sick for 2 weeks now, but every Saturday I always show up here, willing to answer anyone's question. And one thing I will admit is during the week, I'll do a better job at responding on time. Maybe I have some office hours during the week too, right? So first of all, when you are signed up for my program, know the difference between this, the mentorship one, and this. If you are a beginner, don't buy a course here and expect me to come and join a Zoom call with you and help you troubleshoot and teach you something that is already on the video. So, and that is one of the skills you guys are going to need when you start working in the cloud. Your ability to solve problems, your ability to be able to take what is in front of you, dissect it, and figure it out. I'll show you guys this. Even when Dylan just had that issue, right? I was pasting it in Claude and I was asking it different questions, right? troubleshooting is a normal thing. We, as a cloud engineer, we troubleshoot every day, you know. So you can see here, I have tons of cloud questions here that I'm always asking, you know. So that is how you guys should see it. It is not a field where if someone is telling you, pay me $5,000, I'll teach you step by step everything, and I'll just teach you on a Zoom call, click this, click that. You're really not going to learn a lot. It is a field where you have to, you just need someone to show you what to do in a proper step, and just get out of your way. And you work on it. When you have questions, come back and ask the right questions. That is how it works. So good timing that Cobley asked the question. He wants to sign up. He doesn't know which one to pick. So if you're an absolute beginner, I'll suggest this. If you already know what you are doing, I'll suggest this. That is how it works. So, yeah. So that's that. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yes. Yeah. I was going to ask. I might be sounding a little bit lazy right now, but remember when we started off there, we talked about the thing you wanted us to go have a look at to create the script for to audit the S3 buckets. So I put that in Claude. Would I be wrong for doing that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because I said maybe so
can you do that and see what he comes up with?
So are you sure you want to use Python? Because what I'm asking, Daniel asked, but I didn't want to answer, right? So for me, when I paste something in Claude, right? So let's say when I got that work, I use Claude to write the script. But that's only because I already understand AWS CLI. I understand whatever command Claude gives me, where to get the command from, right, in the documentation, right? And I can read the command and I know exactly what the command is doing. So if Claude is going to, so what I'm saying is, if you are going to ask Claude and Claude is going to give you the command, make sure you know exactly, one, where Claude is, if you need to go into the documentation where that Claude got that command, do you know where to find the exact documentation, right? Two, how would you even start from that task from beginning to end? Things like configuring your access key, because it's just more than that command. I want to make sure you guys understand, okay, in order for me to even run this command on my computer, what do I need to set up to authenticate to my AWS? Because it is a command you are going to run programmatically from your computer to have access to AWS. So what are the things I need? So maybe to start with, you can ask Claude.
Funny enough, it actually tells you what you actually need and
exactly. So maybe to start off, just ask Claude, this is what I want to do. I want to query some S3 bucket in my AWS account and check their encryption mechanism, right?
Yeah.
For now, don't give me the commands, but walk me through the steps of how I can start this task. So Claude can give you the steps. In my reply, I say configure, make sure configure this, check here. Then you try to use those steps to see if you can reference it from a research standpoint. Then at the end, whatever you come up with, you can now compare it to what Claude would give you. If I was a beginner, absolute beginner, that's what I would do. But for me, because I already know how to do it, I don't need to.
Can you run it and just let us see what it actually says? Because I just want people to just see what it says, what it actually told me to do.
Okay, let me find the one that I did. Let me find my command. I'm not going to show you guys the command, but I'm just going to run it. I'm going to run it and so you guys can see the type of results you should get at the end when you are done. Just a second. Let me log into my AWS account. Oh my God, my phone is dead. Fortunately, I can't log into my AWS account because my cell phone is dead. Just a second. Why can't I find it? I'm trying to find. Just a second, just bear with me. But in the
AZ,
meantime, if you have any questions, someone can ask whatever questions.
yeah, you looking for that? My sister, she's I think she deal with herbs or whatever the case. I think she's a nutritionist, or whatever you want to call it. And if you have that code for next week, I'm gonna reach out to her and I'm gonna tell her to send me. Well, not send it to me, send it to you. You drink this stuff, you won't have this cold no more. We got ginger, number of fruits, carrots, celery, spinach, all that kind of good stuff. You ain't gonna have that cold no more, my guy.
Oh wow! Oh, thank you. Does she have a website? I can go and buy it.
Oh yeah. She has a website. I'll send it to you.
Send me the link. Yeah, I'll go check it out.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, you
thank
gonna like you gonna like this stuff. It's real good. She's very popular in Arkansas. So,
oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, cool, cool. Cool. Wow, okay. Hey, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Why can't I find this command? What's going on here? I can't log into my AWS account. I just want to find my the command that I run. You know what? Let me see my PowerShell. It's probably still in my PowerShell. Not this. Not this. Just a second. I think I found it. I'm trying to run it. See.
Yeah, it's in the Slack.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I got it.
you have it. Mhm.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, funny enough, I haven't got sick in a long time. I don't know.
Yeah, because when I had a little cold, I don't really believe in drinking certain stuff and all that. I just sleep it on off. But my sister was like, "Hey, bro, just try this. You're gonna be good in the morning." I was
Okay.
like, I had a cold for like 2-3 days, and once I drank the little stuff that she gave me, I was good.
Oh, well, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll definitely check it out. So,
Yeah.
Alex, this is what I was saying. So I'm not going to just a second. Let me see. All right. Yeah. I think this is the script. Oh, sorry, I was trying to find the script. It took me forever to find it. Okay, so I'm just opening my downloads here. The script is here. This is the script. This kms.ps1 script. That's the script that I wrote. So I'm just
Okay.
going to run it in the terminal. I'm going to do how I show you do this. Okay. I don't know if that script is executable, but let's see. Okay, it did run. All right. So I ran this in my home, in my downloads directory, right? So yeah. So you can see what it created. Yeah. So
Okay.
the result you are going to get will show you this is not even the right script. Let me modify it, because this was the first one I ran, but the result you are going to get is going to be something like this, right? Let me just modify that script real quick. The result you're going to get is going to be something like this though, but it would show you the name of the bucket, and here it would have the whatever the encryption is. So the only thing I'm missing here is the name of my bucket, right? So, and that's pretty much, you can see for all this bucket, the only thing I'm missing is the name of the bucket. But the original script that I ran at work, it worked. It showed me the name, the bucket name, and the encryption settings for that bucket, for each bucket. but I can't just show you guys the file because since it's like a work stuff, I can show you. But I just want to mimic. I really don't have that command. Let me try to modify it. I'll stop sharing for them just to fix it because I don't want to show you the command. Just a second.
Yeah.
So to answer some of your question, you don't use Python. You use CLI command. So what I'm asking is something that's very straightforward. Just a normal CLI command would do it. So you don't have to write a Python script. No, just normal CLI command would do it. Maybe I can find my history stuff in Claude. I don't know why I can. I think this might work for me. Although when you start working, right? To be efficient, yes, you will use Claude or ChatGPT to solve a lot of your problems of things you're working on. But since we are learning now, right? So I don't want you guys to take that shortcut. The main point is just to understand the process of getting it done, right? So look at it. The stuff I was looking for, I actually found it. I've been struggling all day trying to find it. This is it. Just a second.
Yeah, and for the new people that's coming on in, I give a little background. I don't know pretty much too much in cloud, but with your courses, AZ is very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. I wouldn't recommend people to buy the individual courses. I would recommend them to buy the whole thing where it explains everything and how to do certain stuff. And I'm still a beginner for whoever listening, for us on the YouTube platform. I'm a beginner and I know how to kind of navigate my way around a AWS console. And I'm willing to work with anybody. But if I have time, we could do a project together. But that's the whole thing of it. If I have time, and you know, just to help out your followers. We have a small class today.
Oh yeah.
And that small class. It probably ain't gonna be like this next week though.
Yeah. Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. So I honestly, if you don't have any experience in cloud, if you work on my project, I guarantee you're going to learn something for sure.
Yeah.
You know, so this is exactly the same thing I did to pretty much build my skills and get a job. So I know you're going to learn. You're going to be able to build your skills because there's pretty much almost anyone that I've done the project that didn't go from zero to having some knowledge in the cloud. You're going to learn something. I'm telling you, is one of the things you want to do for yourself once you start learning is don't look for the easy way out and don't expect someone to walk your hand through it the way we do in school, where you just want to sit in the class and you want someone to just give you all the information and you go home. No, that's not how you learn. You have to sit down. Just like everyone that's here, just could be doing anything, but every Saturday they consistently always show up to learn something. That is exactly what you have to do, honestly. And because that's what I did to get a job, and that's how I was able to transition from the field I was in to cloud. And I'm telling you guys, that's exactly what you need. Don't let anyone lie to you that you can.
My question is, AZ, when you first started learning about how if you can put a hour on it, how much time did you put into it when you first started doing it? From you set a certain time of the day to do it to end of the day of you doing it, or you just floated, you just stayed on your computer. Yeah.
The main thing is I was consistent every day, but I did it for at least 1 hour. At least. So then I used to walk. Wake up at 5 a.m. I'll go get ready for work. I'll go we have to be at work by 7. I work from 7 to 5 p.m. From 5 p.m. I get home. I go to the gym. Get out of the gym by 7 p.m. And when I get home, my study time was between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Sometimes I study longer, but those were the times. But some days when I'm real tired, I will only maybe do 30 minutes just to say I opened the course and I did something. But I did that consistently until I developed my skills. And at some point, it just became a daily habit. Even now that I'm working as a cloud engineer, I still do cloud work, cloud projects every single day, and I enjoy doing it. I don't watch TV. If I have to do anything, I may be watching stuff on YouTube on one of my screens while I'm doing cloud work on the other screen. So at some point, you would develop, it'll become second nature to you where you enjoy it. So that's what I did. I used to, so I'll suggest at least 1 to 2 hours every single day. And I mean every single day. You can take Sundays off, but every single day you must at least dedicate 1 to 2 hours to it. And and that's what I did. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't even watch television. I can't tell you what's going on in the news or nothing. It doesn't excite me. And it's all corny jokes and shit. I can care less.
Yeah.
But
So that's what you guys have to do. Just a second. Okay. Just a second. I got the command, but I don't know why I don't know why I can't find it. This command. I just want to show you what you should have when you are done. Oh, well, let me log into my work computer real quick. Just a second. Output results for each description. I don't know why it's giving me. Just one last thing, just a second. Okay, I got where I'm looking for. So, stay here. Oh, I see why I'm getting that issue. Duh. I see why I'm getting the issue. Sorry. That's my fault. Just running it now. I think it should work this time, and I'll show you. Okay, perfect. Exactly. It did exactly what I want. Okay. Let me share my screen. All right. So going to delete this, right? So in my command, so the command you are looking for, what I did is, you're going to run a CLI command that queries all the S3 bucket in your account. Then from the result of that query, you want to check each specific S3 bucket and check the encryption setting for those S3 buckets. And that's what you want to present as a document to your security team, right? What is the other thing? Yeah, so when you run CLI command and you run some type of CLI command, whatever the output is, so you remember when you run a command, you are making a request. It's called, we're making a request. Then the AWS will respond back to you, right? Whatever output AWS responds back to you, you can save it in a file. So basically, how you'll be able to get that document you are presenting to your security team is when you make that request for whatever, getting the encryption settings of every bucket in your account, the response, you want to save it to a file. So when I run this command, you will see that in this, and I know in this, let me make it easier, and I'll just create. That's great. So we don't, I'll put this in there. I'll just close this for now. Just download LS, CD, CLI. code. Okay, so this is my script, right? Going to open the terminal. So when I run this script, in my script, I've included the option that whatever response I get, I want to save it as a text file. Because the text file is what I'm going to give to the security team to show a list of all the S3 bucket and their encryption setting. So when I run this command, you should notice in here, I'll make this bigger. Notice in here, you will see a text file pop up here. So I'm going to run this command. So it is running now. So it is done running, and you can see this file popped up. KMS bucket, right? That's the name that I said to name the file. So if this is exactly what I did at work this week. One of the tags they gave me. So if I click on this, you can see how it did it. There's this bucket. This is the encryption setting. This bucket. This is the encryption setting, and so on. So this was the file I created, and this was the file that I gave to the security team. Now I completed the task. So you can see in my account, I only have maybe like 7, 8 buckets. Imagine in our account, we have over 100 buckets.
Yeah.
It'll be so almost impossible to try to go in and try to figure out the settings for all of them. So, and I got this done in maybe like 15, 20 minutes. And that's the power of using scripting and CLI. So yours don't have, if you don't know exactly how to get it to format it like this, I can show you guys that part, but at least I want you guys to have some type of command that queries your S3 bucket, and at the end, it will show me the bucket name, and it will show me the encryption.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can use AI to learn, but don't tell AI to give you the command and you run the command and it works and you just like, I'm done. If you give me that command and you have to explain it, I want you to be able to explain it. For example, when I got the command and I gave it to my lead, I used a Windows computer. My lead used a Mac. He said, okay, I can run this on my Mac because it's for Windows. Can you explain to me how this works and how I can run it on my Mac? So I recreated it in Mac, for Mac, and I gave it to him. And I also had to explain what each of the commands is doing. So, it is using AI to solve it is not the problem, because most likely at work, that's what you'll be doing. But also make sure in the process of you doing that, you should be able to explain it. If you present the command to me, you should be able to explain what every line on that command is doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys can work on it this week. Let me know if you run into any issue.
Cool.
All right. Then as maybe next week, if I work on all the stuff I work on, if I find something very interesting, I also bring that up. Okay. Emmy said, is there a way to recommend how to get a job for those who are not beginners? If you are not a beginner, how you get a job is you just continue to apply. I always use Indeed. I haven't applied in over a year now, so I really don't know how the market is now. But the main thing is your resume. Make sure your resume has all the keywords that let me see if I'm still logging on Indeed and I can show you something.
Have you quit that other job or you still working there too?
I'm still working. I haven't quit yet.
Yeah.
I want to, but to be honest with you, I'm trying to make my salary in the stock market before I quit. If I make whatever I'm making at that job in my options trading, then I'll leave that job. Then I'll leave. But so let me log in here. So Emmy, the first thing you want to do is no, how do I get out of this? I'm not interested. Oh no, I just need to click this. I'm interested in removing. I thought I had an account. Why are they asking me this? I just want to go to the home page. I really don't want to fill out all these things. Because it's been so long since I logged in. Do I have to fill out this thing now? I don't know why they're asking all these questions now. Maybe this is not my original account. I don't know. Okay, I think this is my original account. So, Emmy, when I use Indeed for majority of this platform, they are the same, right? So you can search for the job here, the city. Let's say I'm searching for a cloud engineer. And I can search Baltimore. Right. Once you get all these results, you can even filter it by you want only remote and so on. This is what I used to use when I used to apply, right? For each of these jobs, what I was trying to show you is when you optimize your resume with certain keywords on a lot of this platform, those keywords does show there, right? So that's why you're saying here that based on what is in my resume, it is saying that I match some of my skill sets match with what is the requirements that this job is looking for. So here it has communication, agile. Let's check this one. This one, it has software development, shell scripting, Python. What about this one? Linux. So pretty much a lot of the keywords that I have, you just want to make sure your resume has like good keywords for a lot of cloud computing skills that people are going to be looking for. That's one of the first thing. And also, you guys, I'm not a resume expert, so I'm not entirely sure how your resume should be structured. But if you know you need help with resume, pay someone that knows how to do resume to do your resume. I used to pay people when I was looking for work to do my resume. Now I've been using the same resume since they did a good resume for me. But don't hesitate to pay someone to do your resume. Don't try to work on your resume on yourself, because someone that knows how to write a good resume may be able to help you structure your skills in a way that is more attractive to whoever is reading it. So that's another suggestion I'll make. And really, what I used to do is a numbers game. When you come here on this site or whatever platform you choose to do, whatever platform you choose to use, just for all the jobs you see, it probably takes like less than 2 to 5 minutes to apply. Just apply to as many jobs as you can. sometimes you may have to apply on this job here. Let's say if it's a job you like, apply on Indeed. Then if you can find the same application on their website, go to their website and apply there. And just leave it. And it's only a matter of time before someone reach out to you. And other ways you can get a job is through networking. So on Indeed, no, on LinkedIn, you can build connections there and network there. Hopefully you've built connections with someone that has an opening at their company where they can give you a referral. Those are the two ways I've looked for work, right? So that's just the first part of it. So most of the time when people tell me ask me about job, half of the time is not that they can't find a job. Because I want you guys to look at it this way. If an employer is calling you back and you have an interview scheduled and you actually made it to the interview, that is an opportunity. So you were this much close to getting the job. So at that point, if you make it into an interview, whether you get the job or not is based on everything you say during that interview, right? So you guys understand that part. If you are not getting the call back, right? The first thing you all want to do is review your resume, make sure you have all the keywords there, make sure there's nothing on your resume that is deterring people from calling you back. But if you are someone that is getting a call back and you are making it into the interview, and you are not getting a job, then you might want to refine your skill sets. Maybe it's something you are saying during the interview that you are just not selling yourself as someone that has the skills or the experience. So that is the second part to it. You make it through the interview, make sure you are prepared for the interview. And how you prepare for an interview is doing hands-on projects. Make sure all the experience you've listed on your resume, you can back them up in the interview and you can speak to every single thing clearly, that you know what you are talking about. Because a good interviewer would, most of the time, they will use what is on what you've listed on your resume, and that's what they will use to ask you questions. So if you've listed something on your resume, make sure those are actually skills you have that you can talk about. And that is how I've always gotten a job. Me, for knock on wood, and it's all by God's grace, most of the time when I make it into an interview, it's almost like 60-70% of the time I always get the job. So think about it. It's two parts. Your resume, if you are not getting a call back, then review your resume. Two, if you are getting a call back and you are not making it past the interview round, then just take a self account of how you did during those interviews. Do you sound confident? Were you able to back up all the skill sets you've listed on your resume, or answer their question in a way that shows that you know what you are talking about? So if you do those two things, I think you'll be fine. Anyway, yeah, we passed time today. So does anyone else have any question before I end the call? Ade, I'm using PowerShell because my computer is Windows. So if you are using a Mac computer, your script can be in shell script sh. So for Windows it will be PowerShell, but for Mac it will be sh. All right. Does anyone else have any question before I end the call?
Make sure you hit my my sister up, bro. I'm gonna be letting her know.
All right, sure, I will.
Be looking out for him.
For sure, I will. Thank you, Dylan.
No, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
everyone.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, guys.